Good morning. How is everybody doing? Welcome to Auntie Yaa'S Book Corner. My name is Yafoda Tobra, and we're here again to share a very interesting and lovely topic of discussion with you. But before we do that, allow me to share to groups, and then we'll come back and talk. We have a special guest today, and this topic should be of interest to all of us. Yes. Okay, give me a minute. All right, try this again. So I hope everybody had a great week. As usual, we just seem to be zipping right through the year. It's already middle of June already. One might ask, where did the time go? Didn't we just start the year? So you see, we have to be very I'm sure many of us had plans. I always talk about this. We started the year, we had these glorious plans, but where are we with them at this point? Do you go back and check, like review and see how your plans are coming along, or life is too tough? It's just the everyday grind is too much, so you don't even bother with it? I'd be interested to know. But it's good to have plans for life, because really, if you don't have a plan, you might find yourself just aimlessly drifting through life. At least if you have a plan and you don't even meet the targets you've set yourself, you can tell yourself, okay, I'm going to go try again. Let me share to one more person and then we'll be ready to go. Okay, let's see. All right. I'll be right with you shortly. Okay, so let me bring up the topic for today. This is Auntie Yaa'S Book Corner. Good morning, everyone. Hello, Sister Ajua. Welcome, welcome, welcome aboard. Thanks for joining us. And today's topic is financial planning. So I'm going to introduce our guest, Sister Eunice. Our guest today is Sister Eunice Atisobe. She's a wife and a mother. She is a financial professional and licensed insurance agent and business owner. Eunice is very passionate about financial literacy and is on a mission to empower individuals with knowledge and skills to make informed decisions. Let me also say that, if when you come from the places where you and I come from, we don't tend to pay attention to matters of a financial nature. So we missed the boat. Some of us, or most of us, I don't know, may have missed the boat on this, but we can't afford to talk about the issue because there's a next generation coming. So, Miss Eunice, welcome.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So, just give us I've said a little bit, but just give us a brief introduction also and then we can get into the topic of what financial planning is.
All right. Thank you so much for inviting me one more time. I am excited to be here. And like you already said, financial literacy is a very big passion. And
Mm-hmm.
especially from our background, it is not part of our conversation. So you
No.
realize that most of us lack on that kind of literacy when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
finance. And so we end up making a whole lot of bad choices or
Mm-hmm.
things that don't affect us in our lives. So it's a very, very good topic for us to always, like my teacher would say, drum it in. Because the more you drum it in, the more it gets registered. And especially
Mm-hmm.
because it's not part of our culture, sadly. The more we hear, the more we realize that, oh, this thing is very important. Even though I don't know much about it, I want to learn
Mm-hmm.
more about it so that I can make good choices. So it's a very good pathway for us to go.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. So, for starters, then, what is financial planning units? How would you explain it to a layman, like somebody like me who never paid attention to financial things? Biasa, you know.
Mhm. Yes. So when we talk about financial planning, it's just about putting something on the side,
Mm-hmm.
making your money work for you,
Mm-hmm.
or making use of the little that you get. It doesn't matter how much you make, but it's
Mm-hmm.
how you plan for what you have made that is important. So, for instance, you can make millions every month, but if you don't plan how that millions go, you will realize that all the millions will come and pass, and you will be at the same point in your lifetime. We hear stories of most lottery winners. They won millions of money, but because there was no planning, they ended up throwing the money away and
Mm-hmm.
not any good use for their money. So financial planning basically is, to a layman, is like, whatever I've made now, am I going to continue enjoying from that money that I have made?
Mm-hmm.
No technical term here, is basically what this money that I have in my hand, will I still have some in my hand tomorrow when I
Mm-hmm.
need, or will it all be gone by the time I need it? So for the layman, that is basically how I will say the general overview of the financial planning is.
Okay.
No
So
tech.
when you okay, so when you say making your money work for you, like what do we mean by that?
Making your money work for you, investing some of the money, putting
Mm-hmm.
some money down, and making your money work for you can be something simple as putting some money on the side so
Mm-hmm.
that if the emergency happen, you
Mm-hmm.
can quickly go for that money. And
Okay.
also investing it in something that you cannot just go and dip your hand in to take and enjoy, but something that is for the long term. So at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, there is money that is saving for you without you having to do much
Touch
about
it.
it. Or
Okay.
you have invested in a program where the money is yielding profits or income or yields for
Mm-hmm.
spread or whatever program you have put your money. So every time there is money to fall on.
Okay. So when we're saying financial planning, does it mean that then, a family or individuals, we have to have a plan, like have a financial plan? And then if you don't have it, what are the consequences of not having a plan?
Yes. So everybody needs financial planning, no
Mm-hmm.
matter how old you are. Parents can plan for their kids as young as babies
Mm-hmm.
throughout their lifestyle. So that is for the kids. When it
Mm-hmm.
comes to us as older people, we all need a plan. We all need a financial goal. We all
Mm-hmm.
need something in place that we follow through. Whether you are
Mm-hmm.
making millions or you are just barely making it every month, you still need that financial plan to help you so that at the end of the day, you don't find yourself in a tight corner. If
Mm-hmm.
I Because those are some of the consequences that happen if you don't have a plan. If you are just getting the money and spending without any plan, you will realize that when emergencies happen to you, you will be found wanting. And sometimes it can be very, very drastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But the thing is, like was saying earlier, you and I would hazard a guess that we were not taught this stuff. It's not in the curriculum anywhere. So when we talk of the like when we talk of being in the diaspora, these things are there because you see parents, I'm sure you can relate even with my little professor. You take your little glass jar or piggy bank and they put money in there. And sometimes they are going to the store with you. And then you tell them, well, you have $10. If you want ice cream, maybe you should be prepared to spend about $2 today. Those little lessons. We didn't get that. So what are we going to be doing? Would we be I mean, I don't know when that curriculum will ever undergo an overhaul for anything to change, right? So they said all the money in Ghana is with the market women. Nobody else is
Those
planning. So yeah, it's a bit difficult. Let me just read a few comments here too. Sister Joa says, many people, both genders, do not do financial planning, and some do not even take initiative after being educated due to their inability to grasp the importance of it, which is true. Some of us, even myself sitting here, there's certain things that I know I should do. I started, but it's just in progress. Even Otima, you gave me this document a long time ago, and maybe we'll be speaking to it under asset documentation. But because it's just when you're trying to upload things onto StreamYard, it has to be in a certain format, and it's not taking PDF. I was looking at this family documentation sheet, and I'm like, oh, this is something everybody should fill out. But we don't like. I'm going by Ajua's point that we don't grasp it, so we don't bother. Oh, right.
yeah.
Yeah, and then she goes on to say smart investments after investigation to get more useful information. Some investors are scammers.
Yes.
Okay, so then in terms of, so that's the overview. So we're going to break it down. I think the next one is savings, and you've kind of touched a little bit on it here and there. So if you want to
Yes, I'll
get into
just
it.
to what Sister Ajua just said. It's very true that especially those of us here in the diaspora, even when we have been exposed to the importance of it, first of all, most people are in a place where it's from paycheck to paycheck.
Yes,
Reality is so real. The reality is real.
yes, it is. The
Yeah,
reality is reeling.
the reality is real. So it's very hard for you to take from what you don't even have enough of to put
Hmm.
down any of these things that we talk about.
Hmm.
But I always say that there is always a place to start.
Hmm.
And like she said, that some of these investors are scammers. You can decide not to even go there yet.
Hmm.
Whatever you are making, you can decide that, okay, I'm going to put something on the side so that in the case of emergency, I can fall on. And you can start like that. And as you keep going, then you start searching for, because there is tons and tons of resources out there that we can
Hmm.
have access to. But like I was saying on your live the last time I was here, we have free education with the company that I'm associated with, and my own
Hmm.
people, thousands and thousands of invitation, but nobody will even come and listen to this free resources that is available. That is
Hmm.
the hard part of our situation. So even if you, like the somebody said, if you want to hide knowledge from some people, just put it in a book and they will never
Hmm.
get it. Some of
Yes.
these information is available to avoid scammers. There are trainings to help you identify the right kind of investments, the right
Hmm.
kind of savings, and all those other programs available. But
Yes.
sadly, people will not come and listen. So that is the challenging. The education
Hmm.
of educating us to be educated is very hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Eunice, I'll interject here and read something because this is, for me, this is a public service announcement. I've shared it with certain people, certain ladies I know on TikTok. So one of them, she says, anytime we're on any platform, they should throw it in there as a public service announcement. She said she'll do that. You see? So there's this article that came out. She said this person, I found this in Modern Gun. Somebody shared it and took it. He said, I stumbled upon an article with the title, Who Has the Lowest IQ in the World? And it says 10 countries with the lowest IQ in the 2024 report that was published by Business Day. The intelligence quotient article examines how intelligence is distributed amongst various groups, taking into account the impact of education, socioeconomic status, diet, and hereditary. The inclusion of Ghana among the 10 nations. So the others are Nepal, Liberia, Guinea, Nicaragua, Sierra Leone, Cape Verde, and Ivory Coast. This person is saying the inclusion of Ghana surprised them. I'm thinking, should you be? So what you're talking about, our unwillingness to, like you're saying, we're talking about financial planning. How many people are on this platform? But if it was some beef or something or other, you'd see thousands and hundreds of people. So really, but the thing is,
And
with these savings, right? With the current economic situation, like the global economic situation, just especially post COVID, right? Life has become so the what do you call it? The hand to mouth thing is real, paycheck to paycheck. I had a colleague that I used to work with, and she would say that the difference between you and the person out there is your last paycheck. You could also be out on the road, on the street, pounding the pavement looking for a job. So it's not easy to save, but how, like, what do you do? What kind of discipline? Or is it a question of maybe I have $500 coming in every 2 weeks? So I have to make sure, discipline myself to put 50 to the side or something.
yes. So that reality of the paycheck, the last paycheck being your um the barrier between you and being homeless is very real. And
Mm-hmm.
so one thing that we always tell people is that it is not about how big you are putting on the side, the little.
Mm-hmm.
So always plan so that just in case something is to happen to you
Mm-hmm.
for the next 6 months, that's the goal. For the next 6 months, you wouldn't beg for food
Mm-hmm.
or you wouldn't find yourself outside.
Okay.
But it is really hard for people to
Mm-hmm.
do. So exactly, for example, if I'm taking 1,000 to every month, I have to make sure that I have a savings of 1,002 times 6 on,
Mm-hmm.
so that if inevitable happens, I can fall on 6 months. Every month I'll get that 1,002 till the end of whatever, and you give yourself at least with the hope that after that 6 months things will be well.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is, how many of us can do that?
Yes.
It is a very tough thing to do, especially when we find ourselves here with all these credit cards.
Bills every month.
Every Yes, so the credit cards have become our investment.
Mm-hmm.
So we get the money and we put it back into our credit cards,
Mm-hmm.
and that money is not for you. That is not for you. And one lesson that I've learned as I decided to work on my credit when I got into this profession,
Mm-hmm.
I decided to consolidate all my credit cards and make a
Mm-hmm.
one-time payment so that I will get rid of all my
Mm-hmm.
debt.
Okay.
And I am in my second year of this journey.
Mm-hmm.
All through this time, I've realized that, oh, it's possible to live without credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have access to the credit cards, but I'm paying to them. And I'm able to pay that much into the
Mm-hmm.
credit card program every month
Mm-hmm.
without going back for that money. So it
Yeah.
means that when we discipline ourselves, we can
We
put
can.
that same amount down. And some in the program are paying as high as $600, $400,
Yeah.
$300 every month into an
Wow.
account that does not come back to you.
To you. Yeah.
So it goes to paying off your debt. So it means when the program is done, no matter how hard life is for me, I should be
Mm-hmm.
able to still put that 200, 300, 400
Away.
away without looking back to that money.
Blinking. Yeah. That's
Yes.
good.
So I
Let,
always say that it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah. So Sister Adjoa says living paycheck to paycheck is very challenging for those in that situation. This instance can be caused by overspending due to unnecessary competition, show-offs, copycats, having a low-paying job, poor choices, etc. Savings is a must. And yeah, talking about that to priorities, for us, I said we look we're looking in two places. We live here, but our mind is focused on back home. So a lot of us have not prioritized living here. Sometimes you need to put it in your mind that I am here. We may look at things like, and I mean, I'm saying this is not to uh, condemn anybody, but it's putting it out there because we'll say, I'm from back home, so I'll build over there. But then you have to look at your kids and say, my kids are I'm investing in my kids so that they also have a good future. So how about if I lived in a nice neighborhood here, investing in real estate here too, in a good neighborhood so that your kids are not exposed to certain elements, the bad elements in the society. So it's a matter of priority and then less of, oh, I have to belong to these groups. Every month we are doing this, yeah, koha, yeah, yes. Meanwhile, you are not saving, you are putting it into these fancy things. So all these are I think that this area of savings is important, but we as individuals need to take a closer look at ourselves and figure out how we can make it a priority because everybody's situation is different. And like you said, it doesn't matter the amount so long as you have the discipline that yes, I'm going to make sure that I put something away. So, unless anybody has any question or has a comment, we're going to move on to asset documentation. So, when you say asset documentation, what do you mean?
All right. So after documentation is um it's a way of putting down what you have.
Mm-hmm,
Simple. Putting down what you have so that just in case something is to happen to your family will be able to know what you have. There have
okay.
been so many instances where people have passed on and nobody knew about their bank accounts, how much they had in there, their
Mm-hmm,
investments, what they have invested into. Some have
mm-hmm,
houses that have ended up in the hands of the tenants forever because they didn't put it down. So their
mm-hmm,
family members had no clue that they had. So some, especially those of us here, you hear stories of assets being taken over by the government because nobody claimed it.
mm-hmm,
Money, properties, so many things. So it is always advisable that whatever you have, even if it's a pen, write it down. And for those of us who are from back home, we will always make reference to it because that is the truth. When we come here, I've heard of instances where people have died and their monies were found under their bed. And where people have separated from their spouses and the spouses had no clue what they had until they went to the courts. And then when they started diving into the assets so that they would do
mm-hmm.
their final assets sharing or whatever,
Yes.
that's when the things come out. It's not the best. It's not the best. So it's always important to put things down. So some of the things we can document is most importantly our bank accounts, our
Mm-hmm.
savings, our investment,
Yes.
all that. We need to put all that down and put, if you have life insurance, put the policy
Mm-hmm.
down, put the companies they are with, and all that. You need to document all that
Yes.
so that if you get sick, let me give you an example. Let's assume that you have a policy that covers you. We call something long-term care. You have a
Mm-hmm.
very good long-term care policy that should take care of you just in case you fall in the category where you cannot take care of yourself. But
Yes.
nobody knows that policy. You will get sick, and even though you have paid so much into that money, and now the time has come for that money to take care of you because
Mm-hmm.
nobody knows it and you are sick and you cannot talk. You can't show anybody that I have this, and your families end up struggling. Whereas there is a very good policy there that could have taken care of you.
Care
Somebody
of
could
you.
sit with you 24 hours a day
Mm-hmm.
to take care of you. But because they don't know it, they cannot utilize it. So there are so many examples if we will go into
Yes.
that.
Yeah, I was going to say with us, even, culturally, a man and a woman can be together, and the woman does not know what the man has. Neither does the man know what the woman has. Everybody is building back home. Things happen. Even people have died and gone to the graves, and they don't even know what the husband left behind. The secrecy, lack of transparency in our relationships. And it's interesting, like when I was doing a little research before this, you mentioned a number of them. Even digital assets
Mm-hmm.
have to be or can be included on this list of asset documentation. Your online accounts, it's a social media account, email accounts, cloud storage, other like online membership subscription, things like that. I'm like, oh wow, this is like it's extensive.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's a very, very extensive thing. And then um because we don't assign importance, or because we have not
Mhm.
seen the created the awareness, a lot of
Yes.
people even know that there was the need to do all that, and
Hmm.
and their Facebook account is left like that because
Yes.
nobody knows how to get into it to shut it down, so the
Yeah.
account is still there.
I
And
remember.
mhm,
Sorry, I remember there was a young chap that we went to church with in one of the Ghana churches years ago, and he had passed away. And so I knew that, but then I would keep seeing his Facebook account. Maybe it's been closed now, I don't know. But when you know that somebody is gone and then you keep seeing it, it jars you. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah. So those are some of the things when we talk about the social, those are the less heavy ones. That's the
Hmm.
account that we are
Yeah.
talking. But the
Yeah.
more heavy ones are the assets that we are talking about. So the
Hmm.
wife didn't know that the husband had left a fortune for her and the kids
Hmm.
because the husband never mentioned it, never documented it anywhere, and so they don't know. And so, if you are working hard, one advice that I always give people, that if you are working hard to take care of yourself now and your future and your children, please document whatever you are doing
Hmm.
so that your hard work does not go waste.
Yes.
Because we are working hard so that our next generation will not suffer. We will enjoy it whilst we are alive, but when we leave and go, the next
Hmm.
generation takes over. The Bible says a good man leaves a legacy for them.
Legacy.
So the legacy you are leaving for the children, which is a very good thing we are doing, we have
Hmm.
to do it the right way. Document it so that they know that this is what my father left for me and I have access to it. I know a lady that the father died. The father had a very big fat bank account, because the father worked very hard.
Hmm.
And the children did not know anything about that account until the man died. And when the man died, it was the friend that told the children that your father once told me he has this account in this bank, but he said he had never told any of you. So she asked the man, so how do we assess this money? And the man said, I don't know. Maybe you can contact a lawyer and find out how you can assess it. They did, and they were telling that it was nowhere in the man's will, sadly.
Hmm.
Now they have to go to the bank to prove so many
Hmm.
things. I mean, the challenges is just a lot if we don't do those simple things that we can do to save ourselves.
Yeah, not to, I mean, like just hearing this story, then I'm saying to myself, iron sharpening iron. So you as a friend, even at the time, you could have said, "Hey, don't you think you should do this, this, this?" Right? But you know how well your fabi be a tra Eunice, I'm just going to read through this family information guide. It has your vital statistics and your historical data, like your name, your address, your birthday, and all that, social security number, just information about you, whether you are married and all that. And then if you're a veteran, like you've been in the army, there's also a section for that. And then your spouse's vital statistics and historical data, you put that in there, and persons to be notified in case of an emergency. And then also you have persons to be in charge of final arrangements. And then you move to the last will and testament. So you say you've prepared your will, the attorney's name, executor's name, your wife, other information over there. Then we go to estate information. If there's insurance, like life insurance, group coverage for like hospital and medical. So you name the company and the policy numbers and the amounts. And then you move to financial institution information. That's your bank accounts, the account number, savings, and all that. And then, of course, you go down to the funeral service request. So, funeral home, the chapel, the city, the denomination. So, this is an important document to have so that in the eventuality of anything happening, then your family members can, take a look at it and go from there.
Go from there.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
To add to that, you can put any paper. You can put a paper
Mm-hmm.
together. You might not have access to a very
Form.
complex document like form, like we're
Yes.
saying,
Yes.
but you can put a diary, a book, whatever.
Something.
Put your
Yes.
information, your social. There are some fathers don't know Saturday. They don't know their kids' social security, and there are some mothers also that do not even
Mm-hmm.
know a spouse's social security number and all those
Mm-hmm.
important documents.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to write it all out. Do your information, persons to be notified just in case. We all go and come. Nobody goes out expecting something bad to happen to them,
Yeah.
but something can happen. So if something happens, who should they call?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want to take care of you? And
Yeah.
then if you are hospitalized today and you cannot speak, who should take decisions for you? And that is very
Mm-hmm.
important that people look down on those kind of information. If
Mm-hmm.
something happens to you right now, what do your children do?
Yeah.
How do you expect your children to be taken care of, especially for those of us from back home? If you and
Mm-hmm.
the spouse here, if something is to happen to you and you have younger kids, what do you want to be done to those kids?
Yeah.
Do they become assets of the government? Do you want them to be sent back home? Who do you want to be custodian of that child? Very
Mm-hmm.
important. And then we come to the policies, like we've said. If you have life insurance and all that, make sure you document all of that, the companies they are with. If you have a plan for your life, which most of our people do not even want to hear.
I'm not going to die. Why are you telling me to go and
Exactly.
do insurance?
I sat down with a couple that is not from our background, and they had planned every little detail, including their head tombs.
Mm-hmm.
The husband has bought his, the wife has bought hers. They know when anything is happening to them, those things are there. You don't have to now go and think of what kind of marble to use. That would be
Mm-hmm.
a fight back home. That is a whole fight for people who.
Coffin.
Yes, it is done already. So you put that all down, and then it helps. It helps if you have a will already. Where is the will? Which
Mm-hmm.
attorney has it? Who do we contact? So all those information for those of us who are planning. If you have done the good job of planning, make sure that plan is available so
Mm-hmm.
that if you are not there, it can be assessed. You know. So let me
Okay.
end.
Sounds good. Hi, Miss Sage. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so we are going to go on to retirement.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, Sajua says, wow, very insightful information and teaching. Thank you both. Thank you.
All right.
I have your I have your email, I think, or Sister Joy. If you send me your email, I can send the document to you to look at. But I mean, like she said, you don't have to follow this exact format. You can just write things down however you choose to. I think I started mine in I was putting some spreadsheet or whatever together, so I have to go and finish it up. Hey, procrastination. Okay. So retirement.
Yes. So when we talk about retirement, this, I think it was last week, I saw a WhatsApp video going around from
Mm-hmm.
old Azuma Nelson, those from Ghana. No, well, the very famous boxer.
Yeah.
And he was advising on retirement planning. And I
Mm-hmm.
felt that is very good,
Yeah.
because it has to come from all avenues so that we will
Mm-hmm.
get it. And one thing that he was talking about is that retirement planning is not just for, those in the public sectors, which is our conception.
Yeah.
Oh, the teachers, the soldiers, the police, those are all people that are in the public sector, and then their retirement is planned for them by SNIT or whatever company is being done, used to do that. So the conception is that, okay, so when the teacher retires, there is retirement waiting for them. When the police officer and all those traditional jobs. But then what happens to the market woman? What happens to those who are doing their own jobs? What happens to the professionals, the actors? You hear stories of actors that have gone old, they are no
Yeah.
more acting, and their lives are so miserable because there was no plan, like a retirement plan for them to keep giving them income. And retirement, when it comes to retirement planning, it's simple to put it in a simple explanation. It's like so that when you grow old and you cannot work anymore, there is still something coming to take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
Especially those of us here, some expect the government to take care of us. Some
Mm-hmm.
rely on their inheritance. Okay, I've been able to build this house. This house is going to keep on bringing rent, and so I'm going to keep on uh,
Mm-hmm.
enjoying life. Um, some rely on their accounting, but we leave a whole lot of vital importance out of this question when it comes to retirement planning.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us can retire early, and we all have stories of people who have had to be forced to retire because of health problems.
Yeah.
Early, because of their health, they have to stop working. What is the plan?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what if that house you have built does not end up being useful when it comes to feeding you or providing for you when you are on retirement?
Mm-hmm.
What if your health give away and you have to spend all your fortune, all your life saving on taking care of
Okay.
yourself? What happens? If you cannot go to work tomorrow, what happens?
Mm-hmm.
We have something called long-term care. If you can't bath yourself, if you can't eat, if you can't
Mm-hmm.
self, how do you take care of yourself? Those are all plans that we have to put in place towards when it comes to retirement. And you can, there are so many companies out there, so many opportunities, resources out there that can help us sit down with you, look at your assets, your whatever things that you have, so that you can help put something down. Whether you are a
Mm-hmm.
business person, whether you are a business owner, whether you are in the public sectors where you have a W-2 or paycheck,
Mm-hmm.
you still have to plan. If you are in the W-2 kind of job, they make it easier for you. They have 401k, they have whatever systems, machines that money is being put into to work towards your retirement. But even that, you still have to plan it and make sure that that 401k is going to be enough to take care of you when you are not working anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So, Sister Joy says for most people within our community, their retirement plan is relying on a rich family member. And sometimes it's their kids, like we
Yeah.
think our kids are, and somebody said that, the kids that you are raising here, don't be looking to them as your retirement plan.
Mm-mm.
It's like if they choose to and they want to, they will help you, but don't look at them. But a lot of us have that mentality, and then to we don't really plan. Oh, why na boom, the retirement I bet to troka and you are in it, and
Mhm.
maybe you've gone and invested back home, or you are that's all where you are looking, but meanwhile you are living here. So I don't know, like we didn't get the memo earlier about all these financial planning, but how do we begin to make that shift? Again, you have to want to, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of information, YouTube, wherever, like for you to start to become knowledgeable about some of these processes. And like Eunice was saying, they have free sessions that she's invited people to, and yet we don't really take it seriously. And the best time to hammer it even is to the young ones. Because for me, when I look back, way back when, I said, oh, by the time my youngest daughter graduates from university, it will be this. I'm there and the time has come and passed. She's finished school and then some. It's even 4 years later. So if you just like how at the beginning of this session I was saying that, oh wow, it's June 15th already. That's how time flies. We started the year. So if you have something to do and you are not doing it, you got to know that you're wasting time, you're wasting your life, you're drifting through, and you need to get on it. So at least if there's anything that we'll learn from today is to sit down and put things together. Start your plan, like be actively, make a decision that, hey, I'm going to be saving, I'll do this, I'll do that. Take little baby steps. So moving on, if you have any questions on any of what we've talked about, please leave them in the chat and we'll attend to them. But in the meantime, we'll move to wills and estates.
All right. Thank you. Planning, 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 planning. I think we've
we,
mentioned a
we
few.
don't like plans.
Oh, yeah, we don't, we don't. And then it comes to will in our communities, we do not even want to hear it.
No.
A lot, even the older ones still find it hard to do their wills because they
Mhm.
feel like when they do their will, then it means they are ready to die.
Yeah.
But no, it's all part of the planning that we are talking about. When you do your will, you make it easier for your family members that you are leaving behind to continue life without stress.
Hmm.
That is basically how I will put it. When you do your will, you give your family members a very comfortable way to grieve your passing
Hmm.
because it makes things easy for the organizing. My uncle that took care of me, he was a lawyer.
Hmm.
I stayed with him throughout my secondary school years.
Hmm.
And he was a lawyer. When he passed, his funeral was so smooth because he had put together even the funeral committee. He had put the funeral committee together. So when he died, they knew who and who should be part of the committee. The 40-day celebration, he had written down what to be served. Just serve water. That's it. The funeral, do ABCD. That's it. He made life easy for those that he left behind. But if
Hmm.
we don't do that, we leave so much stress and it makes the grieving very hard.
Hmm.
Now, apart from thinking about the funeral and the cost and everything,
Hmm.
we have to think about whatever he has somewhere. Things pop up and we are not able to do what we have to do. Estate planning. There are attorneys that do all these things. There
Hmm.
are education resources to help guide us to do all these planning. We have to take advantage of it. Dive into it. Know that when you do your will, when you prepare your obituary, when you do your funeral plan, when you do even Ghana, the good thing I'm so happy about that. I hear in Ghana now they have these funeral homes that are available like here.
Sorry, but I had to put messages, comments. So just water, no meat pie on
No,
pet cabiara.
but the 40 days was just water. Yeah, no meat pie. Yes. we have to take advantage of these resources that are available because they are
Mm,
there. You
mm,
know, in Ghana now, they have funeral homes that have funeral plans, which is a very good thing because
mm,
the way we idolize our funerals is very good that some of these plans are popping up so that it
yes.
helps the families to maintain the costs,
Mhm.
you know. So the wills are very important. The the wills are very important. The estate planning is very important. And like I said, there is education on it. There are resources available. Let's dive into it and make
Mhm.
sure that we are planning for that aspect of our lives. That's very as well. Because planning for your will and your funeral and all those things doesn't mean that you're about to die. It means that you are being,
No,
yeah.
good. So Nanaraba says I keep a susu box, which is the least of all savings, and even my almost 87-year-old has one. At the end of the year, that lump sum can be used to buy an investment plan or portfolio. That's good. And Message says she's got you. And Nanaraba says they should drink water and think about life. We worry ourselves too much. We seem to honor the dead more than the living. This is what's happening. So the question that I have for you is about these wills and estates. There's all kinds of all kinds of forms, online things that you fill out. Like if say um you fill something like that out and you sign it, like you don't see a lawyer, but your family is able to produce something like that. Does it hold water? Is it legally binding?
I will always advise that you talk to a wills and estate planning attorney.
Okay.
It is always advisable to go that route because, like we
Mhm,
already said, there is so much information on social media now
mhm,
that you can rely on and also cannot rely on. And
mhm,
I always say that information on social media is just like as if you are a Christian, it's
mhm,
just like feeding yourself with the gospel.
mhm,
Not a Christian, it is just feeding yourself as a human being with the
mhm.
food that we eat. You have to be picky with the kind of food you eat.
Yeah.
There are some food you can only eat it to get big. However, you cannot get any value from it. So at the same time, you will be feeding your body, but you will not be getting any nutrients. So your body will
Mhm,
not value. It will not be valuable to your body. As a Christian, there is a lot of gospel information out there, but is that all of it gonna be fruitful for your soul? No.
mhm,
So the same way, the information out there can be a lot. You can eat from any resources out there, but at the end of the day, is it going to be valuable to you? So just like we pick the information we listen to as Christian,
mhm.
just
Yeah.
like pick the food we want to eat to be healthy, we should also attach the same importance to the kind of information
Mhm,
when it comes to these planning. There are attorneys that are there, there are financial professionals that are there that have been
mhm.
trained to teach and help you in planning these things. Go to
Okay.
those resources and make sure
Mhm.
that you are always doing the right thing because you don't want a situation where you have done a hard work of thinking that you have planned, but then when the inevitable happens, it cannot hold water.
Okay. So with what you are saying, then I'm thinking to myself that okay, I see all kinds of forms, but if I go to say our department, I forget what it's called, but I'll lump it broadly under vital statistics, and you see a form like that there, you know that it's from the government. So if you use it, it's more legit than maybe going for another, some link that you see. Do you
Mm-hmm.
get what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I'm saying that still it's advisable to see a lawyer, but sometimes there's some legitimate documents that come from a government office, like a government department, so that you are
Yes,
okay to
yes.
utilize. Yeah. Okay.
So when
So
it
and yeah. Sorry.
long sorry to cut you. Something like
Mhm.
long-term care, there is a government website for
Mhm.
that. When it
Okay.
comes to health insurance, there's a government website for that.
Yeah.
Medical is a government website.
Mhm.
Retirement, there is um government websites that we can always get. And most of these websites, they guide you. The resources are there to guide you, to
Mm-hmm.
lead you to the right people that can help you. You can go there and then they will tell you to be linked to the right professionals. Click here. And then
Okay.
because they have the people, the professionals that they work
Okay.
with, for
Mm-hmm.
you to be connected to the right place. Because
Okay.
information on the internet is very, some of them are very scary. They will tell you
Sketchy.
here, and then they will get all your social security, your information, and then at the end of the day you are getting identity theft and all that. So
Yes.
very
Eunice,
careful.
I'm going to take a break and read through some comments. Sister Adjoa says many wives also always expect their husbands to make a will without making their own because they are expecting the men to pass first. I recommend for everyone with a child or children should to make a will. Also, some men refuse to make a will because they are fearful their baby mamas will unalive them for the sake of properties, and we complicate life, don't we? And then she says some extended family members, children, and significant others be fighting when there's no will after a loved one pass. Majority of it before leave bills behind when they pass on, which is true. Nana Araba says a house is will to me, but a consideration clause was made for a maid that took care of my relative who made the will. How do I take over the building completely since I pay property rate and land rate for the whole building? She was given just one room to stay in. Hey, this is was will to me because it took care of the relative. Okay. Any thoughts? Because this one, dear, it's over me.
Yeah, this one, the best person to advise
Lawyer.
like this is an attorney.
Yes.
The attorney that had, I don't know if the will was done, but so some of these things are the reason why dealing with an attorney it becomes the best option for you.
Mm-hmm.
Case like this, the attorney will just pick it up from there, look into the legal implications, and then help you take the right step. You
Yeah.
know, because this is something that is a legal issue. If you don't handle it well, it might explode in your hands.
Yeah.
So you always want to make sure that you are doing. I mean, we like to do things our way, and sometimes it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't help us. But
Yeah.
when you take legal steps, you make life very easy for everybody. So the best person is if it was done through a lawyer, to get back to that lawyer and then let the lawyer see what the steps are to take absolute control of the property.
Mm-hmm. So, Nanarab, I hope that answers your question. Thank you for that. Are there any other questions? So, basically, in coming, in finishing of the discussion, how would you summarize everything generally? What advice will you give to the general public, or the people who don't want to learn, or the people who don't want to learn, maybe just in the one place, like take action. Mhm.
Yeah. I will say that learn, 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 and learn until you cannot learn anymore. And every information is important when it comes to planning. You know, we always have to search and dive into, just like we educate ourselves. So once you have become aware of the importance of planning, you have to put your head down. Where can I get free resources to help me? If you want to reach out to me, I can point you to a lot
Mhm.
of tons of information, a tons and tons and tons of platforms that can help you in your planning journey. You know, we have to make a conscious effort to put down something. It's not easy trying to save in this hand to mouth kind of economy. And
Mhm.
it's almost everywhere. It's not only in Ghana, it's in here too. Most of the time, they think that those of us out here, we are okay. We don't have that problem. Trust me, it's the same all over the world.
Hmm.
Hand to mouth, paycheck to paycheck. It's a
Yes.
reality all over the world. It's not hard to save in those kind of situations with inflation and all that, but it is doable. It is possible. So let's put that mindset on and tell ourselves that we can do it. So let's do it. You know, let's do it. let's plan. Let's document. It's not hard to take a pen and write down plans. It is not hard
Mm-hmm.
to do. It is not hard to take a pen and document all your information. One, procrastination is one of our big problems. We have to pray about it, or whatever you have to do, and make sure that you get rid of that habit because it's not good.
Eunice, Eunice, let me interject and correct you there. I have a lady friend that I know. She's a lady prophet. Also, for say some things are not prayer. Some things you take action. If you are procrastinating, and no amount of prayers are going to help you. Just break out of it. Take action.
Exactly. Exactly. Very, very important. Yes. All of that put together will help us get out of those habits.
Yeah.
Some need prayer, some needs action.
Mm-hmm.
Some um just needs to get up and get to
Yeah.
work. One thing
Oh,
that I always say I'm going to do when I see these natural disasters happen is
mm-hmm.
to get a backpack and put our passport in, put our documents, vital information in that backpack, and put it at a place where we can just grab on and go.
Oh.
Ask me if I've done it. I,
I thought of that too last year when
I
we
only
had all
know
these
where,
fires here.
yes, I only know where they are. But sometimes when I need to do something for my son, then I start looking for his social security. That's when I remember that, oh, I need to put all these things together in a
Mm-hmm.
bag so I can always have access to those
Mm-hmm.
little things. Sometimes we tend to forget. Sometimes we are caught off with life. Life happens. Sometimes you
Yes.
want to do it, but you end up not being able to do it. So we all have to make the effort.
Mm-hmm.
And a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step.
One
So let's
little
all
step.
take that one step
Mm-hmm.
towards putting things together to make our lives here on earth easy, and also when we are not there, make it easy for everybody in our families.
Thank you. And Nanaraba says that I have a probate, and the will says if the caretaker who was put in place dies, the house can be mortgaged, given for rent. And then she says the caretaker is dead. So,
Okay. Okay. So get back to the attorney and do the next steps that you need to take to get over
mm,
the of the house.
yeah. And Sister Joa had said some people live to enjoy others' hardcore money, so they will not see any adequate resources, but they won't follow up and go and, yeah. And she says, what steps can couples take when one partner is a spender, a gambler, compulsive liar, and the other is a womanizer? And some more. Oh, Lord have mercy. Hmm.
When it comes to couples, you hear so many stories, so many stories. Some couples never agree on one thing, and that
Mm-hmm.
is the reality of that. uh, some of those problems, they will never agree on one single thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the husband or the wife thinks, okay, let's put $1,000 down every month, and that simple gesture, they will never see eye to it.
Eye on it. Mm-hmm.
They will never agree on that. One thinks all the money has to go to Ghana. One thinks we are here, so let's invest here. So
Mm-hmm.
that is a big problem in our community. But I always say that those issues are marital issues. I'm sad and I'm sorry to say those are marital issues. So whatever you can do as a couple to solve that problem, it's up to us as couples to look at, okay, what can we do so that we both can agree on this one thing of putting $1 down every month, or putting certain information together, or putting a will together, or putting plans for retirement together, long-term care, everything, you know.
But Eunice, if I may interrupt, you know that we are people and some of our men, women too, can be stubborn academy. There
Oh
will
yeah.
never be any agreement. Like they are standing where they are standing. So a lot of times maybe people may have to take certain actions on their own just for their own safety and protection because
Yeah.
like if you are a woman, for example, and your husband has told you, oh, stay home and look after the kids, and you're having these discussions and they are not minding you, if something happens to him later, what's going to happen to you? So are you just going to sit at home, or are you going to do something to bring something in so you'll also be able to put money away? So at the end of the day, you as the individual, you need to also think for yourself. It's you want the greater good, right, as a couple, but if it's not coming in some, what are you going to do?
Mhm.
No matter what you do, the person will not meet you, you know. And so you
Yeah,
are going to sit there and say, oh, well, this happened, oh, that happened, you know.
yeah, yeah.
So
I heard a life story that she was sharing that her
who's
husband.
this?
Can you
Sorry,
hear me?
I didn't
Can you?
hear the name.
No, I was saying that I had a story of a
Oh,
wife,
okay. Mm-hmm.
a lady that was sharing one time that her husband would never see eye to her when it comes to savings.
Mm-hmm.
He would never understand. He never understood it, and he never was willing to even learn about it. So she had to. She said she had to start um to use the word that she used. She started to have to start stealing from him,
Mm-hmm.
put on the side, and she was happy to steal from him because it wasn't that she was taking the money from him as stealing for herself. She
Yeah,
was taking the money to put together for both of them,
as a
so that
profession.
at the end of the day, they both have something to fall on. And eventually, when she got to a certain amount for the savings, and when the husband got to know that this is what she had done all along, she expected the husband to be very furious and mad. But surprisingly, the husband was excited and started thanking her and started apologizing for his stand that he took initially.
Oh,
And he
that's
said,
good.
thankful for you for taking these steps, because at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the man realized that they had a very sizable amount that they
Mm-hmm.
fall on when things happen to them. So
Well,
that
that's a
is,
positive outcome.
some of them don't end well.
Yeah, some of them the ego will kick in and it will become something else.
Yes.
Okay, so I have one last question. I don't know, Ajua, if we've I think we've hashed it out, so some answers have come out. I have one last thing, so what about debt? Debt is a big thing in our community. So how do you like start to pay down debt or avoid getting yourself into, you know, scrapes with these credit cards and things?
Yes. So when it comes to debt, there are so many approaches that are recommended to
Mm-hmm,
handle it. We have resources in our company where you can be assisted to get out of debt.
mm-hmm,
Those who are interested, we have classes on it. You can reach out to me. I'll point you to
mm-hmm,
those workshops so that you can listen to it and help plan. And then another one is the one that I just talked about in the beginning that I have done. And I
mm-hmm,
started that before I joined my company. So I decided to do a credit consolidation, and
mm-hmm,
those services are available here.
mm-hmm.
And you have to make sure to choose the right companies. You don't just jump out there to anybody that is offering debt cancellation or debt cancellation. You have to be careful, because if you don't take care, you end up paying so much into somebody, and when you're looking for them, you won't find them, and your debt will still be there waiting for you. So some of these credible credit consolidation programs, you can they will take all your money and put it together, your debts, and put it together, work
Mm-hmm.
it out over a period of months, and then they will tell you, okay, every month you're supposed to pay $100, $200, depending on whatever your debt was. So you pay into that, and all those credit cards, whether it's 10 of them, whether it's 5 of them, they are all closed. They are all closed. So you don't have access to reuse it anymore. Like I used to do when I was in debt. I always say vigilant crime to teen crime. So I'll
Mm,
pay $20, and then I'll buy gas $10 out of use that same credit card to buy gas $10. And the month will pass, and I was able to pay my $20 minimum, but
mhm,
I don't have that debt taken care of. And that is just um, like robbing Peter to pay Paul. You cannot use that method to take care of your credit or your debts. Do a proper debt plan. So, like I said earlier on, for my case, my plan was a 2-year plan. I'm almost there now. Every month I have to pay a certain amount. That money does not come back to me. It goes towards taking care of my debt. So very soon, my debt, even if it was 10,000, 20,000, will be taken care of, and I don't have that debt anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
when that goes away, I plan on keeping going. So whether it's $200, $300, now that is going to go towards my savings. And I'm going
Yeah.
to make sure that I still struggle to pay that every month, like I'm doing right now. It's not an easy journey. It's
Yeah.
not an easy journey because, like I was saying, normally I will pay the credit card debts and I will still use the card to go to the grocery store and shop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now I don't have that asset, that's a pleasantries anymore. The
Mm-hmm.
money on and it's gone forever. I have to struggle to find money to buy food.
Hmm.
But I'm able to do that, and I've been able to live for all these almost 2 years. So it
Yeah.
means it's doable. It's doable.
Exactly. Okay. So Sister Adjoa says marriages within our society communities itself are challenging, stressful, draining, especially where there's lack of understanding, lack of communication, lack of respect, lack of support, greediness, envy, jealousy, ignorance, double standards, and hypocrisy. That is very well summarized. It is an issue. So yeah. And oh, okay, it's from your end. Okay. All right. So, yes, we've been here today with Sister Eunice talking about financial planning. We did an overview. She talked about savings, asset documentation, which was very important. If you missed the beginning of this session, you can go back and watch and get some of the tips and insights that she shared. Then we spoke about retirement and then wills and estate. There's a whole lot. The important thing is that you have to make sure that you document everything. You are working, save money for emergencies, so that there's something for you to fall back on should the situation arise, because life happens. We just don't know when we'll be hit with any crisis. Nobody's ever prepared. And, we've been talking about wills and estates, putting money away, even like, what do you call it? Planning, savings, doing your insurance, all those things. Um, our, our default shouldn't be GoFundMe. You need to be able to be putting something away for the future, and don't look to your kids as your future retirement plan when you are not making the right decisions and your face or your mind is focused on back home. You go keep up with the Joneses, trying to please family members, sending everything to them, and then you are here at the end of it all living a life of poverty, when if maybe you had invested more here, you'd have something to. It's not to say you are going to live here forever, but some will go back home, some will stay here, go and come, that type thing. But in all of this, how well prepared are you? So start to document your bank accounts, your insurance policy numbers, vehicle registrations, anything, anything that will be important enough when you are not around or when you are sick and you can't speak. The next of kin will be able to look at and get the things rolling on everything. So with that, we've come to the end of the program. Thank you, Sister Eunice, for joining us today. Maybe, and I don't know if that is in your forte, but it came into my mind, this whole issue of income, and then people relying on 9 to 5 or developing different streams of income. I don't know if that's something along your alley. So maybe it's something that we could speak about at another time, and factor in, like, get more into the debt situation too. Like, there's still lots that we need to learn, yet when you do these programs, you don't necessarily have people listening or wanting to patronize. But the few of us who've come on, I'm sure that we've got a lot today. So we appreciate you coming on. And I can't mention names, for those of you who are here, thank you for joining us and for supporting us. I have to jump off, and I couldn't do any commercials today. I have to jump off and get ready to go to a 60th birthday party. So I appreciate you all. Thank you for your support. And Sister Eunice, thank you so much. Namishrao, we'll do this again. Take care, everyone. Have a good rest of the week. Bye for now.